Dublin. How does it feel at this moment in time?
It feels brilliant, and it feels like a privilege, and I'm proud and honoured to be the first citizen of Dublin.
And your priorities for the coming year, I mean, a lot of people know that you're chair of the Housing Committee. You have been working a lot in terms of housing and homelessness, so the priority for the 2015-2016 year?
Is to actually supply. One of the biggest issues to do with housing is the lack of supply. We need to work on supply. I have an innovative housing subgroup working on how we can shorten the time it actually takes to get on site and build. That is in off-site housing. That will be in trying to reduce the length of time it takes to do tender and procurement, and we've been working on that.
One of the things you mentioned, you're just the 8th female Lord Mayor of the city, and that's something that you want to address, really, isn't it? The role of women.
Yeah, I mean, it is unbelievable. Out of 360 odd, I think it is, that there's only been 8 women, and the 4th woman was Kathleen Daly-Clark, and I think then 1994 was the next woman. So that's something we have to address, but that's replicated through all politics, that women just don't seem to be able to rise through the ranks.
You mentioned in your speech as well you were working with something to do with housing with Tina McVeigh.
Yes.
There is a seminar on that tomorrow.
There is, yes, and I'm actually launching that. I'm very proud to do it as one of my first duties as the Lord Mayor of Dublin. I will be launching that as a primer for social clauses. In Dublin South Central we have 2 regeneration projects, Teresa's Gardens and Dolphin House, and then we will have the National Children's Hospital. It is key that there are social clauses, community benefit clauses in all of those contracts and all of those tendering documents, because it is important that the actual communities of those areas, and some of those communities are some of the most marginalised and disadvantaged communities in Dublin, that they would actually reap some benefit from these big infrastructures on their doorstep.
One of the other things as well, we know that today was the final deadline for the Community Action Network, the housing and the mould, especially in Dolphin House and a few of those. Was that something you were working on as well? Is that something you're going to be continuing to work on?
That is one of the things I've been working on since the very beginning. I'm on the regeneration board of Dolphin House. I mean, every single Thursday I do a clinic in Dolphin, and the single biggest issue is housing, and not just lack of housing, but also inadequate housing and poor standard housing, and that's something that I have been addressing.
Can I ask you one more? Just about a lot of concern about the 1916 accusations that Sinn Féin will hijack it. What do you say to the people of Dublin ahead of what is a hugely important year for the city?
Hugely important year. But I just want to reiterate, and we've said this till we're blue in the face, the celebration and commemoration of 1960 do not belong to any one single party. They belong to the people of Dublin, to the citizens of Dublin. My party has been celebrating 1916 for years and years. It's nothing new for us to actually celebrate it. It's just a big, huge event that will be centenary next year, and we will commemorate it. And the important thing is that those who do commemorate the men and women, the brave heroes of 1960, to